Hello, I'm back. Hey, it is Carla from Marie Lazo, and I am here to do my live on Love Spell Fails. So I am so excited to be talking about this today. I love penis candles, don't you? So yeah, I love penis candles. I really do. So I want to talk about love spell fails, and now that I have a little more time. In a full length live, we're going to go deep. If anyone has any questions, I definitely want to hear them. At the moment, I just posted my new love spell course. So if you're interested, you can check the link in the bio, or you can go to queenupclub.com/love and you can get signed up for my love spell course. As someone mentioned earlier, my love spell course is quite intense and it's quite extensive. It's a 5-part course, and I'm not just talking about how to do one love spell. I'm talking about how to do at least 3 different kinds, because there's so many different ways, as you know, as witches or people who are working love magic, how people have a different affinity for different things. Like for me, I love candles, so I'm fire magic, candle magic is my jam, so I love using candles. But for some people, they might prefer to use water. And for other people, they might have, nosy neighbors, privacy issues, roommates, and they can't have, and they can't do any kind of rituals that people can see. So I also have like a scripting spell as well. So it's all about what works best for you. And, that's really also what for me, like what magic is finding what works best for you and using that. And tapping into your own personal magic, because when you realize what works for you, what speaks to you, you are a much better magician. So I wanted to give people options, and then also the different spells that I'm sharing. If you are kind of advanced, you could probably see how you can substitute different things. So I want to make sure that that what makes your magic the most powerful is when you are incorporating things of your own nature, things of your own, things that come to you from your intuition, symbolism that speaks to you personally. I love to use music in my spells, so I love music. I'm auditory. That means I'm really aware of messages or different things that come to me, through my ears. So by incorporating sounds and music, I feel like that makes my spells more powerful. So I'm Carla from Marie Lazo, and who the hell am I? Who cares, right? Like, give me my love spells. I just want to know. So I am, I've been doing some form of magic, for most of my life. I'm 52, so that means I've been doing it for about 30 years. I didn't necessarily know. Like my aunt taught me a lot of stuff. Started in root work, but then I moved away I'm from Miami originally, and then when I moved to New York, I just found different things that I was attracted to. So it made me more of an eclectic solo practitioner. So I picked up a whole bunch of different things along the way, and that was before the internet. So, some things that people might call cultural appropriation, I was probably doing just because that's what I found. That's, and it is what it is. And I learned stuff that I learned, and even though it wasn't Wiccan, but it wasn't coming in under a particular kind of magic, but I learned that everything works. Like there's so many different paths to magic. There's so many different ways to create transformation. So I like to think that I found a lot of them. And so the magic that I teach, I like to consider it's non-denominational. Anyone can do it. Like, I'm not putting any rules on anyone saying, if you didn't have this kind of initiation, you can't do it. Because no, that's really bullshit. I mean, if you think about law of attraction works, and there's no one out there saying you have to be initiated with the law of attraction in order to make this happen. No, you don't. You just have to believe in it, and you have to be in alignment with what it is that you say that you want to create. So I feel like there's a lot of that within magic as well. So I don't believe, with the exception of traditional African religions that are closed, and they have, their particular rules and regulations. Aside from that, and that is always to be respected. but the magic is within you. You are the magic. You are the spell. So it's best that you find whatever works for you, and you take the best and you leave the rest. That's my thing. And anything else, I really don't care about. So I think a lot of the witches that ask me questions, I know that some of you are just kind of, you're not really sure. You might be sort of doubting your magic, or like you're wondering, am I doing this right? And the thing is, I feel like if you say it is, it is. If you feel like you've had messages come to you, or there's like just an intuition that you feel of how something is right or not right, I would say it's usually the case. And I think when people doubt themselves, and they're like, I think this, or I think, well, someone said this, or someone said that, or I think I feel this way, but someone says no, but that doesn't really resonate with me. Always believe in yourself. Always believe in what you feel. So I feel like a lot of things that I do with people, I'm basically just validating what they're, because I think you know what is working for you, and you know what doesn't feel right, and you might just be asking me my opinion, but I feel like you already knew. I'm just here to say, yeah, girlfriend, yes, you are right. You're absolutely right. So if that helps anyone, I just want you to know that believe in your magic, because your magic exists. And if someone tells you, hey there, if someone tells you that you're wrong, just discount them. What matters the most when you're doing your your magic is how you feel about it. So we're talking today about love spell fails. So like I like to say, I'm 52 years old, so I've had plenty of opportunities to be in love and to have some fantastic love spell fails. I've totally been there, and I got my granny glasses. I have the age to prove it, to say that yes, I have been there. And I hope that maybe there's something you can learn from my experiences. If I can save someone, it sounds so cliche, but I really mean it. If I can save someone just a little bit of heartache because of one of my stories, I really hope that would be the case. So I think before I'm going to tell you some of my stories, but I feel like the thing when it comes to when we're asking ourselves, well, why does this love spell work and why didn't this one work? There's usually a couple of things that are in common, and from my experience, they fall into like three categories. Discernment, like lack of discernment, like really paying attention to what's going on, looking at the situation and seeing if this is supposed to be really good for you or not. Like we have to be mindful of what's going on. Another thing that gets in our way, clarity. Do we have clarity when we are asking for something, when we are trying to create magic to attract someone, whether it's a specific person or if it's just like a general, I want to attract a soulmate. How is your clarity? Like how clear are you in your desires? And the other thing is self-love. That is it's probably the biggest one, self-love. When maybe we might skip or overlook certain things about a situation because we're not giving ourselves enough love. And so whether it's just lack of discernment, lack of clarity, or lack of self-love, those are the big three things that get in the way of our love spells. Now you can, that's pretty much what it is. Self-love is key, totally, because one thing I was married before. I'm married now. I'm a newlywed, so that's why yes, you have nothing without it. And when I was divorced, I spent a lot of time dating. So I had about 10 years of being single, and after I was divorced, and I did a lot of dating. And the first thing, I wouldn't say it's the first thing I learned, but something I finally learned that was so important is that the person that is in your life is a reflection of you. So that is also why self-love is so important. If you aren't loving yourself enough, if you aren't respecting yourself enough, the people that you come across, they are going to reflect that. You're going to, they're your mirrors, and they're not just here to teach you lessons, but the thing is, if you pay attention to how someone treats you or how they don't treat you, that they're telling you everything that you need to know. You attract what you are. Exactly. Kalon Luna, spiritual goddess. You're absolutely right. You attract what you are. And if you aren't really aware of who you are or what kind of energy you're putting out, you're going to get all kinds of things coming your way. And if you're not using any kind of discernment, then that means you're not making the right judgments for yourself. So again, if you don't have like that self-love, you're not going to say, well, you know what, I could do better than this. I could, and it's always clear to see when you say it with someone else. Like, for example, you have a friend and you see like her guy or her girl doesn't treat her right. And you see that your friend is putting up with much less than she deserves. Maybe that the person that they're with speaks to them in a certain kind of way and you don't like it because you know it's not right. But your friend is like, oh, well, they don't mean it. Oh, they're just being funny. But you know that's not good. But that person, for whatever reason, your friend is selling themselves short. Yes. Spiritualists tend to attract a lot of broken people. That is definitely true because there's something about when we are spiritual people, we are sensitive and it's such an attractive quality. But the thing is, it's like you're a magnet for a whole bunch of things. Some's going to be good stuff and some's going to be bad stuff. So that's why it's even more important for you to have that discernment to ask yourself, is this person the right person for me? Am I, what am I showing myself when I'm with this person? We are healers, exactly. We are healers, and we can't help sometimes but see someone who's an empath, exactly. We see people or we're around people, and we are able to see past, what they're, we see a guy, and we're like, we'll see his potential. We're like, well, yeah, he's a little rough around the edges, but I can see that he's hurting because something happened to him when in his childhood, and we can feel all those things, and we feel such compassion over about that person. However, exactly, you have to read that person's energy first. Exactly, you have to say, no matter what, no matter if you see that this person is like, they've gone through stuff and they're hurting, and you can see all of that, but they aren't totally healthy themselves. They can't give you what you need. So it's like you have to make that choice. And that I know can be also very difficult when we're a healer and we're an empath and we can see that person's pain, but that's not a good excuse. It's not a justification for accepting less than you deserve. So we have to use that discernment piece and say, okay, I know that this person has gone through a lot, but right now he is not ready for me. She is not ready for me. She needs to do some more healing first somewhere else, away from my bed. And and the other thing about those souls that we are so attracted to sometimes, they're fucking awesome in bed. And that's the thing that makes it also really difficult about, when we sleep with someone early on and the sex is so good. And we forget, we lose our mind, there's that word digmatized. We become like, oh man, but the sex was so good, but oh, he really hit it right, or whatever it is. And we forget who we are. We forget what's important. And so I'm going to get back into, yeah, exactly. Sleeping. Oh my God, you are preaching tonight. She's like, oh my God, yes, it's literally sleeping with the enemy. It's true, because like you are sleeping with this person and we're exchanging all that energy with this other person and they're not healed. They're not ready for you. And then when we have sex too early, I feel, we will let a lot of things slide. Oh, thank you. And we will let a lot of things slide because the sex is good, and we can't do that, So when it comes to like, okay, I'm going to do a love spell, we have to take these things into consideration. So I'm going to tell you some stories from my own life, and hopefully that'll, I don't know, if you can learn something from that. Yes, because like in those soul ties, that's true. Because when you have sex with someone, you're making that energy transfer. And once you connected with someone on that soul level, when you have sex, that's not just, even if you're thinking it's just one night, there's an energy exchange that happens. And and if they ghost on you, they're going walking around with your energy and you're walking around with their. That's right. Yes, get your popcorn because, girl, I got some stuff for y'all tonight. So, Trap Goddess Khaleesi had a meme a little while ago, and it says, "You're not in love, the sex is good, and you lonely. Y'all both toxic." Now, I have lived that life. I have been about that life. Like, there was a guy that I was interested, well, I can't, I don't know if I call him a crush. He was a dude I was with for years, but he was never my man, But I wanted him so much, right? I wanted him to be really my man, and I did all kind of love spells for him. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like that is, hey, deep in the heart of sugar. Like, I felt like this guy I'm telling you about right now, yeah, he was more than a fling though. See, that's just the thing. A fling that lasted like 5 years, meaning like he wasn't with anyone else, but he was like, he enjoyed having me around, but he wasn't able to give me any more than he was giving me. Like, he could have sex with me. He could take me to his family's for Christmas. You know what I'm saying? Like, can you imagine? Now it seems crazy now, but spending Christmas with someone, you're welcome. I have to be transparent because I'm hoping someone will, if I could help somebody, spending Christmas, 3 Christmases in a row with somebody's family, and yet they're still introducing you as their friend. Oh, this is my friend, Carla. And I'm just like, he'll get it one day, and I was doing all kind of honey jar spells. I was doing all kinds of stuff. And like, he was like a friend. And I was originally in the friend zone. They say sometimes that you don't think that women can be in the friend zone. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. And of course, I was in the friend zone because I allowed myself to be. Again, that's that self-love piece. Like, I was lonely. And I thought, this is the guy for me. He's not seeing anybody. I'm not seeing anybody. We should be a couple. I think this would be a good idea. I'm coming also from my brain. I'm not necessarily coming from my heart, but I really thought I was in love. I thought, like, okay, me and this guy, we're perfect for each other. We have all these different things in common. And when I finally told him, how I felt, he's like, I don't know. I think that, you're just taking our friendship. Yeah, you're cool and all, but blah, 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 blah. So, of course, what was that for me? That was a challenge, right? So then that was a challenge that I had to overcome. So that is one of the times I felt like my magic really went into overdrive, because that's how I learned how to do a lot of things. And I also learned how magic worked in the sense that I was definitely able to just put a lot of energy on him, a lot of different magical techniques and things I tried. And he finally came back around and he was like, "Would you like to share my bed?" And I was like, "Got your ass," and I was like, I felt so almighty powerful, because I was like, oh my God, I'm powerful. My magic is working. He's finally coming to me. And in a sense, yeah, he came for me or to me, with me, whatever. But he was never in love with me. He was never in love with me. So on one hand, my magic was working in the sense that I was able to get him to come in my direction, that I could get him to, that he could get turned on by me, and he really liked me. He really liked me a lot. That's when I think about that now, that is the truth. He really liked me a whole lot. Gosh darn it. But he didn't love me. Oh my God, I was so confused. Yes, I was so confused because he liked having me around, and of course he enjoyed the friends with benefits. I wanted that power over him. Yes, I did. I wanted to have that power. And when he finally came to me and was like, "Would you like to go to bed, share my bed?" And he said it just like that. It wasn't even like, but when he said that, I was like, yes, that's it. But there was no kissing. There was no, exactly. The universe knew what she was doing, that he wasn't for you. But you know what? I didn't know that. All I thought at that moment was, I finally got him. I got him. My magic works. I'm almighty powerful, and he is the thing. He is my man, and I'm just going to keep working on him. I'm just going to keep working on him. I'm just going to keep on working on him, and one of us is going to give in, and it's not going to be me. my thought was, you know what, I just have to keep working on him. I'm just going to keep, like, he's not seeing anybody else. He's not trying to see anybody else. He's really comfortable with me. He's going to eventually fall. He's going to just make it. But that's not what happened. That is so not what happened. He basically stayed at that same level, that same level of liking me a whole lot, but never going out of his way for me, never giving me love, never giving me affection. But he was happy with what we had, and so I bring out my white candle, my white penis candle here. And because I bought this years ago and I'd forgotten I had it. I just came across it because I'm cleaning up my stuff. And it reminded me of how I got him to go to bed with me in the first place. I had a red penis candle. And I will tell you, I will never do another red penis candle ever again in my life. And I'll tell you why. Like, I'm sure it works differently for everybody. But, so I had this red penis candle. And, and I had like the personal concerns. I'd, stuck them in there and I was burning it. And how it manifested was, and by the way, we weren't sleeping together then. I was still just trying to get him to want me. And, red candles are for love, but they're also for passion. And again, like everybody's chemistry is different. So how it manifested for us, we ended up having this huge fight. Like something happened, and next thing you know, we were having like this text war. We were just like, well, you said you, I mean, we just were so pissed to the point where he had to say to me, Carla, I think we need to cool off a little bit. I think we need to just take a couple days and chill out. And of course I was like heartbroken, but I was really mad. I was mad, but I understood because we were just like, we had never, think of it this way. We had just been friends for that point. Remember, I was all the whole friend zone. I used a red penis candle to get things going. So I thought it was going to be for love. But no, we ended up having this huge fight. But the other thing that the red candle did, it made me hot. Like I could feel a heat in my body, just like nothing could quench it. I was just hot. I was on fire. And I ended up going on, there was a meeting or something, a networking event, whatever I was supposed to go to with him, but because we weren't, we were taking some time off, I went by myself, and I ended up meeting this other guy. And I ended up making out with this guy I had never met before that night. And we were just like, just making out. And I'm like, now when I think about it, I'm like, what the fuck was I thinking? I mean, like, I don't know this guy. I'm putting myself in a big risk here. But the interesting thing happened. We were so hot and heavy, me and this dude. I think we both came from just making out. And once that happened, my brain, then it was like, whoa, Carla, what are you doing? What are you doing? Thank goodness I didn't do anything else but make out with this guy. But I was like, oh my God, I was ready to do something else with this guy. And I really had to chill out. And I felt like this red candle was so, I was on fire, I'm telling you. And I remember writing in my book of shadows after that, never again. Now, I had said in another video that the way I was taught, when you do a candle, you're not supposed to turn it off. Like, you're not supposed to stop the candle. You're supposed to let it burn all the way and get the lesson. But because things got so heated and I just kind of like lost my mind with this other dude, I'm like, no, I'm stopping this red penis candle right now. I went to, and because it was like an emergency situation, I went to the drugstore or grocery store, wherever, and I got a blue Yankee candle, like something like a Yankee candle. Yeah, girl. I got a blue Yankee candle. The scent must have been like ocean mist, something like that. So I was thinking, okay, blue, I needed peaceful, I needed calm, I needed something I needed to cool things off. So if anyone is listening and, your intention is everything. So I'm able to go to the grocery store and get like a blue Yankee candle that's scented for the ocean and still make that shit work, because that's what I needed it to do. So I got my little blue candle. I did my, I did my little magic thing on there, and things cooled down. And then a few days later, me and this guy, we made up and we were friends again. So that was, and I was really grateful for that, because when we were pissed off at each other, we were really it's just like, whoo. And we had never been like that before. And then again, like I said, and that it made me so hot. It made me like I was on fire. And again, to the point where I was making out with some other dude I didn't even know. So that blue candle was good, because it was able to chill me out, bring me down, and we were able to make peace, which is what I needed. And at the time, I remember thinking, well, my campaign for being with this guy, well, I'm sure this situation has taken me back. Like this, my campaign for him to be my man, I felt like that just probably threw it off for by like a few months. I'm like, well, I'll never get him now. But the interesting thing happened. I ended up, I'm a performer and I'm a musician. So I ended up performing with someone else and doing a show, and my friend had shown up. This guy had shown up to see us. Long story short, that is the night that he asked me to come to bed with him. And whether he was jealous or not, I was surprised that, in the sense that the red penis candle did work, but not the way I had planned, not the way I had expected to, and not really the way I wanted, but it worked, and I was like, yeah, I'm powerful. But again, I said that it was like I wanted him so much. I wanted the prize more than I wanted the real thing. So I want to talk about something for a second. Now, most of us are familiar with the Lover's card. This is the modern Witch Tarot deck. This is the Lover's card. And when we think of, if you have like the other Rider-Waite deck, you kind of know what this looks like. And it's like the two lovers, and it's, if you look at this, it's like there's an angel, and the angel is saying, I'm so happy for you. And the stars are shining, and the couple is, and they're like almost holding hands, and they're reaching out for one another. And it's, it's a beautiful thing. And they're like, Adam and Eve in the garden of Eden, and everything is beautiful. But the other side of this beautiful card is the Devil card. Now you see, we have the two people in the couple, and we have the devil in the middle, crossed legs, and if you could see, they are chained together. This is also the card that means obsession. And sometimes we get obsessed, and that's why when this card comes up in your readings, if you're doing a reading, you know that there's some kind of obsession, or maybe an addiction that one or both of you have, something that is not healthy about that relationship, about the desire that you have for this person. Now, being online as I am at the moment, and being online, a lot of my friends online are selling, candles and other magical supplies, and they're selling physical products, and people have to, and they're mailing things out. And totally toxic energy. And some people, I'm not pointing any fingers, because that's not really my place to do. But I know that some people, when they'll order something because they want something, and they'll be really mad because love me bundles. Like they will, like if they don't get something on time, they'll be really upset. And I feel like when you order something from someone, they're working by themselves, and we might get spoiled with days of Amazon where you get something in 2 days. But when you're ordering something from another fellow human being that is just, creating magic for you, or creating a fixed candle for you, you can't rush that person, because also but like the royal you, if you are like nitpicking to get your order right away, and you're like, where's my order? Or so-and-so, how come I haven't got my order yet? Or what's going on? that is, you're creating more energy into that spell. So even though you haven't even received your candle yet, say you haven't received your, say, you ordered your love candle because, you're trying to get your guy back or whatever, or you're trying to, get your relationship problem solved. When you start sending like all of these nasty emails, hey Stephanie, how you doing? Like when you're sending like these nasty notes to like someone who's supposed to be making your candle, and you're getting mad at them because you haven't gotten back right away. You might not think of it this way, but just because you haven't received your candle doesn't mean that you're already starting that energy. You are creating that energy. So when you're like, I sent my order in and I haven't got anything back, blah, 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 blah. You are adding your energy to that spell. So by the time that candle comes back, even though that person has done what they can do, when you are like nagging them to get their, to get their stuff faster, or to work faster than they're already doing, you're putting your energy into that spell already. So by the time you light that candle after you finally get it, you're creating that extra obsessive energy. That is what this is about. The devil card means obsession. So like one of my clients is like, had been going through a hard time, and she had broken up with someone, and she was kind of hoping to get back with that person, but that person was seeing someone else. But that person was sort of like in between, like they weren't really sure, that they were still in love with my client, but they had already moved on. And they were kind of going back and forth between the two of them. And my client was like, I don't know, should I say something else to her? Should I do something? And I'm like, well, if she was going to do something, she would have done it by now. She's had all these opportunities. She knows how you feel. So there's really, I hate to tell people, but, people show you who they are. People show you all the time who they are, but we don't always want to see it because we just want what we want. Like the time I broke up, this guy broke up with me because he was going to see, because he started seeing some other girl, and I just had to have him back. Like, what sense does that make? Because at some point, like the little voice that talks to me is like, even if you do get him back, what exactly are you winning? You win him back, but you're winning back the guy who cheated on you? Think about that. And it's like, sometimes we just get so caught up in, I want what I want. I want that person back. And it doesn't always work that way. It's not always the best thing for us. But in that moment, we're like, I just love him so much, or I just want her back. And I understand, but it's so hard to take a step back and ask yourself, is this the right thing, really? Is this the right thing? And to use that discernment, and our friends will be talking to us and say, girl, you need to let that dude go. Or, I know he was never good enough for you. And, again, I say it's always easy to see that in your friends. But when it's us, we're like, but I love him, But back to the three things, the three things that get in the way of love spells: discernment, clarity, and self-love. So clarity comes down to being really clear on what you want. So in my love spell course that I have, if you want to sign up for it, you can check the link in the bio. Or, yes, I'm going to talk about that in a second. The link is in the bio, or it's queenupclub.com/love. That's one of my love spells. So Kalun Luna, and I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing, just give yourself that closure. That is right there. Because there's so many times I hear people say, I have to talk to that person so I can get closure. No, closure comes from within, and nobody wants to hear that when I tell them that. But it's like, you have to give yourself that closure, because even if you go to that person and they're never going to tell you anything you want to hear, what usually happens is you go like 2 more times past the time you should have walked away, and then they really say or do something that really hurts your feelings, and maybe then you'll get the closure, or maybe you won't. But it's like when you're feeling like you're putting it on that other person to be responsible for your healing. And the thing is, that's up to you. That's a boundary. That's a boundary with you saying, you know what, I'm closing the door. You are no longer going to have access to me or my heart. I am done. But I also understand, people have unfinished business, and it's not easy to just walk away. But it's so important to have that kind of, that self-love. That's where self-love comes again. See, it's a discernment, clarity, and self-love. So back to discernment. Discernment is paying attention to the situation and noticing whether this is something that's good for you. But I suppose self-love is the foundation for everything, because when you are loving yourself, you don't put up with shit. You don't put up with stuff that's not, that's not good for you, because you know better. Like, I was in this dating group, and they talked about emotionally unavailable men. So it was like all these women talking about being with men who were emotionally unavailable. And I noticed that there was like a journey that all of us were going through. And at some level, at some point, the women who were really paying attention, they would say, wait a second, if he's emotionally unavailable, does that mean I'm emotionally unavailable too? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. Because when you are emotionally available, when you are in an emotionally healthy place, you're not going to put up with that. And she goes, and Cologne Luna says, once you find yourself, you never want to lose yourself again. That is so true. When you find that hard-earned self-love, you're not easily, dissuaded. You're not easily tempted to give that up, because you're like, I love me, and I love what I am doing, and I am so happy about life. When you're in that place, those guys or girls who like showing up and who aren't really happy. Oh, Luna? Okay, I can call you Luna. Thank you, Luna. When those people show up who aren't really willing to give you what you need, or they're only half-assing it, you see that and you're able to walk away from it. But when you're not clear about what it is that you want, in love, you're going to accept less. And self-worth, self-love, all of that is like the foundation. When you're not loving on yourself, when you don't love yourself, you put up with a lot of shit that you don't need. And the thing is, when we put up with those other situations, they end up getting worse. They never get better. They never have a happy ending. What they end up doing is we end up getting into these situations where things get even worse than they were before, and it takes us 2 more years to get over it. So it's kind of like we have to come from that place first of self-love. I love myself. I am worth it. I am worth, the best treatment. I am worth, the long walks on the beach, whatever that is for you. And it's like making sure that you know what is the best for you. So in all of my spells, my love spell things, I suppose if anyone is looking at them, someone said earlier that they're very detailed, and they are, but the thing is, the foundation is the most important part. The foundation is you figuring out what do you want in out of love. And I'm not just talking about a specific person, because if you would have asked me about that other guy, I would have said I wanted him. I don't want anyone perfect. I want him. But he didn't have the ability to give me what I wanted, and I didn't know that. So one of my other spells, this was like a love spell fail that was actually worked. I did a scripting spell, and it started because I'd read there was some book that said, how you can attract a specific person. And I was like, oh, I want that. So like I read this book, and I'm all in it, and I'm like ready to add my magic to it and make something happen. And what I ended up doing was I found this part in the book where it says, don't just, in addition to, like, that there's a specific person that you want, but also focus on what kind of relationship do you want. So what I ended up doing was I started writing like a whole list, because at this point I had already attracted the guy. We were already sleeping together, but there was a whole bunch of stuff I wasn't getting. So I'm like, okay, well, let me make my magic happen to get that stuff out of him. Like, let me make him more romantic. That's what I need. I want to make him more romantic. I want him to do this and that. So I'd say, he's romantic. My guy he loves spending time with me. He's very romantic. He's very affectionate. Like, I started writing all the different things that I wanted. And the idea behind that particular spell or law of attraction technique, whatever you want to call it, is that it brought me into alignment with what it is that I really wanted. So this is where the clarity piece comes in. The clarity piece was like, okay, I know what I want. I want to have a relationship that looks like this. I want this. I want someone who, is proud of me and shows me off to their family. I want someone who cooks for me. I want someone who is generous with me, someone who wants to build with me, like all of these different things that this dude wasn't doing. But I'm like, okay, let me think about what do I want to create with this man. And so I started focusing on that. So every day I would do my love magic on that. And if you look at my course, I talk about that, and it's free, so you can sign up for it. But I started like getting into alignment with what I really wanted from this guy. And I kept putting it out there every day, in the morning, at night. So all I could think about wasn't just him, but what I wanted with him. And the funniest thing happened. I ended up, long story short, I ended up in a relationship with somebody else who ended up giving me all of those things. And I realized that magic, true love basically is its own magic. And if a guy or a woman, whoever you're with, isn't that kind of person, like if they're not already the kind of person that's going to do certain things, magic isn't going to just magically change them into that. It's not going to make a round peg square or vice versa. So what ended up happening was my discernment kicked in. It's like, wait a second, there's this other guy who is showing you love in all of these ways that you have been vibrating on. I was in alignment with a particular kind of relationship that we were equals, and the guy loved me, and the guy was loyal and affectionate, and I was like, oh, thank you, Stephanie. It's like I had to be in alignment with that, because I had to decide for myself first, the relationship that I need has to look like this. And then at some point I realized that what I wanted, I wasn't getting with this original guy, no matter what I did. Magic does have its limitations, because, hello, hey there. Like magic has limitations in the sense of, you're never going to make red into blue. Red is always going to be red. Blue is always going to be blue. This guy, the original guy that I was crazy about, he did not have the ability to love me the way I needed. And I thought that if I did enough, honey jar spells or doll baby spells or candle spells or anything, if a girl looked like she might have been around, put somebody in a freezer, like I did all of that. None of that changed who he was, his essence. His essence is always going to be his essence. And he's always going to have that free will. That person is always going to have that free will to be who they are. You're never going to be able to change them, no matter how much you try, no matter how much you want. So I was able to get that realization that this dude was never going to give me that relationship that I realized I deserve someone who's going to be doing these things with me, for me, and that is what I want. And by focusing on those aspects, those requirements, basically, every day, in the morning, in the night, having my little birthday candle, like really focusing on that, I ended up aligning myself with what I wanted. I was vibrating on the frequency of, I am lovable. I am worth, someone putting me on a pedestal, someone who wants to pursue me, someone who wants to take me out for dinner, someone who wants to kiss me, someone who wants to introduce me to his family as, this is my woman, this is my girlfriend, this is, all of that. And when I realized that there was this other guy who was right there and just willing and able, emotionally available, physically right there to give me what I needed, how could I turn that down? and love myself. How could I really say that I love myself if I'm putting up, if I'm turning down the guy that really has everything that I want for the guy who doesn't have any of those things? That was like, things clicked at some point. And honestly, it took me 5 years because I am stubborn. I'm a Capricorn, and I'm stubborn, and I do not give up. And side note, I also had to think about, why was I pushing so hard to be with someone who didn't want to be with me? That is like another lesson, I suppose, but another video. But in short, I had to do a lot of inner work and ask myself, Carla, why are you pushing so hard for this guy who doesn't really like you like that? And when I did my soul searching, I looked at past relationships that I've had. I looked at my family dynamics, and I realized those are old stories, things that I've done over and over and over again. Like the whole thing about falling for someone who didn't know I existed, like that's something I have been doing or had been doing for years. And I hadn't really put two and two together. So he wasn't the first time I was going after someone who I had to talk into, being my lover. I had to, I was good at that because I just did not give up. And when I started really doing that deep work, I realized that was like my childhood shit. That was like growing up in a household where like my mother wasn't totally available for me emotionally. So what that means is, because of that experience, that is what I considered love. When love doesn't come easy, well, that's love, because you got to work for it. But that's not really what love is. But that meant every time I met with someone who wasn't there for me, that felt like love to me. And I had to go and dig deep and say, oh shit, okay, that's my mother's stuff right there. And I had to clean up those old stories and those old patterns. And that's when I realized, okay, I don't have to do this. I do not have to continue, to love like that. So while all of this was going on, as I said, there was this new guy who was present and romantic and loving. And I worked it out, and I realized, you know what? This guy, he's never going to change. He's never going to change. And he didn't, and now I'm married to the other guy, and I'm really happy about that. And, if anyone cares, that guy who told you I was going through this, whoops, for my little background thing. I didn't know. When I'm saying I was going through this, I'm just saying before I knock my stuff down, I didn't know that you were going through it, but I think we all go through it at some point. It's that feeling of, I just had to have this person, and I realized it wasn't even about him necessarily, but about me reliving those old stories, like the stuff I went through when I was a kid. And I didn't know that I was repeating these old stories. But when I took the time to do that inner work, that's when actually things changed for me. So I just say all that to any of you who might be needing to hear this. When you find yourself going through these things over and over and over again, go look at your childhood, look at your old stories. Think the things that happened to you when you were a little kid. It could have been something that happened with you and your father, you and your mom, or things that didn't happen. If there was alcoholism in the family, this stuff is real. When people talk about generational curses, it's not just the curse of some magical thing. I'm glad I can help. Thank you, Stephanie. It's not just about some generational curse that someone hexed you. It's also about there are things going on in your family dynamics that are affecting you to this day. So I feel like magic is a thing, but true love is a thing. True love actually exists, and there's no magic spell for true love. You can use magic to bring, to attract people to you, but you still have to use the right discernment. You have to make sure that have that clarity so you know what kind of healthy relationship that you want. You have to use the discernment to be able to know this is good, this isn't good, and of course to have that self-love. Otherwise, you're just going to keep attracting people who are reflections of your own, hard stories. So I suppose even though I'm talking about love spells, I'm also talking about psychology here, but it's kind of like we have to get into alignment with what it is that we really want to attract as far as love is concerned in order for the magic to really take. So my 3 things: self-love, clarity, and discernment. Like when you have those things in order, that is when your love spells will work. And I always tell people inner work is it gives you equals outer results. Yeah, inner work equals outer results. So don't be afraid to do that work. During Mercury retrograde, I'll do another course called Retrograde Romance, and I'll let you guys know about it if you want. But that's like when I really go deep and we talk about this is what happened to me when I was a kid, and when I look at like my relationships now, there's always parallels. There's always stuff going on, but we have to pay attention. But when we work out that stuff, that is when love comes. So you don't have to be like me and wait till you're 52 to get the love that you need. All right, I'm telling you that. But you have to take the time to figure out what it is that you need, and what are the stuff that in your past that you need to clean up. We all have it, and there's no shame in that. So that's my thing. So, here's the Lover's card. We want the Lover's card. I have the Devil card. The Devil card fell on the floor, and I'm afraid I'm going to knock stuff down. Self-love, clarity, and discernment. I definitely will be working on this. Good for you, Stephanie. Because, that's really the basic stuff. But, self-love is the first thing. When we love ourselves, no one can mess with us. No one can mess with us. We are unfuckwittable because we love ourselves and we don't put out, we don't put up with shit. So often our inner child, as a Toasted Almond Edge says, so often our inner child is not healed and is still crying out, but we can't refuse to listen. We must be our own healers before the right one can come with good lovings. Amen, amen, amen. That is so true. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, we have to heal ourselves. We have to do that. And that is when the magic works. When we like, I'm going to do a little love spell and, get me a little dude, or get me a little piece on the side, whatever that is. You can do that. And hey, more power to you. But remember, if you don't heal that stuff that's working, that's going on, there's all of this stuff working on in the background. And if you don't work on that, you're just going to get people, you're going to attract people who are mirrors and reflections of that. And, you don't want that. You want love. You want, I'm breaking stuff over here. Yeah, okay. Yeah. You want love. We want love, right? So take the time and do the work. It might hurt at first. There might be some tears, but it's okay. This is how we heal. That stuff comes back up so we can let it go. When people are like, I don't want to, we don't want to feel that stuff when it's coming up. But that's really the only way to let it go. We got to let it come up. We got to cry those tears. We have to work it out. We have to figure out, okay, how can I let this go? How can I heal myself? And there's all kind of self-love candles, and there's healing candles. So don't be so focused on just getting love if you haven't worked on your stuff. That's really the basic thing I have to say today. But I have my little white penis candle, which I've never used. I don't even know what I would use it for. I wanted that, at the time, I just wanted that red penis candle, and it really didn't do me a lot of good. It just got me in a lot of trouble. But anyway, yeah, I think it's going to cut me off soon. I think it's been almost an hour. So I'm leaving this up on story. So if anyone needs to get some clarity on that, you go right ahead. You can also check out my love spell course. Check the link in the bio. Oh, you know what? No, I don't have a YouTube channel yet. I mean, I do, but I don't have any videos up on it yet. That's going to be, what is it? Queen Up Club. I only have one video on there now, and it's like a music video. But I'm going to take a lot of my lives and put them on my YouTube channel, but I haven't done that yet. So for now, I'm just, talking shit on Instagram. But anyway, you can check out queenupclub.com/love for my love spell course. It's free. You could, or the link in the bio. And I'm going to go before it cuts me off. And, if you have any questions, go ahead and ask them like underneath, and I'll answer you back. All right. So good night, everybody. I hope you're having a wonderful evening. And see, my alarm's going off. Okay. So I basically have a few more seconds. But anyway, everyone have a great evening. Have any questions, ask them below, and I promise I will respond, or you can send me DMs. So happy love spells, everybody.